Hello and welcome to Anthem Daily. This is the broadcast for actors and creatives in the industry, and we bring you news and views and all from a beautiful sunny Cape Town today, even though we are right in the midst of our winter. So I'm enjoying that. The world has not yet exploded, so we can relax and get into the meat and potatoes of something that's very, very dear to me, the idea of psychological realism. So let me ask you something. Think of the last time you watched a performance. Film, TV, doesn't matter. And you just couldn't explain it. You couldn't look away. Something was happening on that screen that went beyond good acting. Beyond, well, he's very talented. Something was true. Most people can feel the difference between an actor who is performing and an actor who is being. But ask them to explain why, and they can't. They say things like, he was so natural, or it felt real, or the classic, I forgot he was acting. Those are not nothing observations. Those are important observations, but they're descriptions of the effect, not the cause. Today, I'm going to give you the cause. I am going to give you the language. And once you have it, I promise you, you will never watch a performance the same way again. Let me take you to a specific moment. Oppenheimer, the movie, 2023. If you haven't seen it, first of all, go and watch it tonight. It's extraordinary. Here's a moment that I keep coming back to. The Trinity test. July the 16th, 1945. The first atomic bomb is detonated in the New Mexico desert, and the camera finds Oppenheimer's face. He barely speaks. He barely moves. There is, for a moment, almost nothing happening. And yet, the entire cinema held its breath, including me. Including probably everyone in this country who went to see it. So what is Cillian Murphy doing in that moment? He's not acting scared. He's not acting overwhelmed. He's not making a face that means I have just changed the world and I'm not sure how I feel about it. He is thinking, actually thinking, actually processing. The camera, that cold, merciless, completely unforgiving instrument, is reading every single thought as it moves through him. And that is psychological realism. You see, the camera is a lie detector. I want you to really absorb that. It has no mercy for performance. It has no interest in technique for technique's sake. It does not care how many drama schools you attended or how many Shakespeare monologues you've memorized. The only thing it responds to, the only thing it will ever reward, is psychological truth. Psychological realism is the philosophy, the method that teaches you how to produce that truth, not by accident, not by luck, not by finding your character in some vague, mystical, let the spirit move you kind of way. On demand, every take, under lights, with 40 crew members staring at you and the director already 3 shots behind schedule. That is what this method teaches. And it is, in my view, the single most important body of knowledge that any screen actor can possess. So let's get into it, the meat and potatoes. What is psychological realism? The lineage goes like this. Late 19th century Moscow. A theater director named Konstantin Stanislavski looks at the performances on stage around him and thinks, this is nonsense. Everyone is declaiming, everyone is gesturing, everyone is performing in a style that was designed for gaslit theaters and audiences of 2,000 people. And he thinks, there must be another way. He spends the next 40 years developing what becomes the foundational document of modern acting. The system, the method, call it what you like. It crosses the Atlantic. It lands in New York. It splits into streams. Lee Strasberg, Stella Adler, Sanford Meisner, each taking a different piece of Stanislavski's work and developing it into its own school of thought. And then the camera arrives, and suddenly this philosophy, which was built for the stage, turns out to work even better for the screen, because The camera can see things a theatre audience never could. The irony being, of course, that Stanislavski never even directed a film. He died in 1938. Imagine what he would have made of Cillian Murphy. At its core, stripped of all the academic language and the decades of debate, psychological realism is this. Acting is living truthfully under imaginary circumstances. Acting is living truthfully under imaginary circumstances. That's the whole thing. That's the thesis. Everything else is the detail of how you do it. And I want to give you 5 pillars, 5 tools that you can take into every rehearsal, every self-tape, every audition, and every performance for the rest of your career. Pillar number 1 are the given circumstances. Before you feel anything, you must know everything. Given circumstances is the detective work. It's the set of conditions that exist before a scene begins. Who is this person? Where are they? What time of day is it? What happened 5 minutes ago? What happened 5 years ago? What does this room smell like? Is it cold? Is there tension in the air? Most actors skip this. They go straight to the emotion. They try to feel sad or feel angry without doing the groundwork that makes the emotion inevitable. Cillian Murphy did not arrive at the Trinity test scene and think, right, I need to look moved. He arrived knowing everything about that moment in history, the weight of it, the moral horror of it, the specific biographical detail that Oppenheimer later recalled a line from the Bhagavad Gita, "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds." The emotion was the result of the circumstances, not the other way around. Pillar 2 is the objective. What does this character want? Not superficially, not I want to win the argument or I want him to leave. Go deeper. What do they need? What is the engine driving this person through the scene? Every great performance is powered by an objective. And here's the thing about objectives. They must be active. Not, I want to feel loved. That's passive. It's a state. Try, I will make him see me. I will get her to stay. I will prove I am worth something. Playable, present tense, active. When you know your objective, the scene has an engine. When you don't, you're just moving around and saying words. Think of your favorite scene in any film. What did that character want? Not the plot's objective, the deep human want. Drop that in the comments. Pillar 3 is the obstacle. Without obstacle, there is no drama. The obstacle is not the villain. It's not the other character. The obstacle is everything, external and internal, that stands between your character and what they need. External is the other person won't listen. The door is locked. There's no time. Internal, I don't believe I deserve this. I'm terrified of what happens if I win. The internal obstacles are the interesting ones. The external ones give you something to play against. The internal ones give you the complexity that makes a performance worth watching. Oppenheimer's obstacle at Trinity is not the bomb. The bomb worked. His obstacle is himself. The man who created the thing that will kill hundreds of thousands of people is standing in a desert, watching it work. And he cannot fully stop feeling proud of it. That internal conflict, pride, and horror is the obstacle. And it's devastating to watch. Pillar number 4 is the inner monologue. The greatest screen actors are thinking, constantly, visibly, silently. Inner monologue is the conversation your character is having with themselves that we never hear. It is the subtext beneath the text, the thought beneath the word. Here's a simple exercise I give every actor I train. Take any scene, any line, and before you say each word, think the sentence that comes just before it. Not out loud, in your head. Let the audience see you arrive at what you're about to say. The camera will see it. I promise you. It always does. Actors who've mastered inner monologue are the ones where you watch a scene and think, there's so much more happening here than what's being said. Because there is. and you can see it in eyes. Pillar 5 is emotional truth. Now, what we mean here is not emotion for emotion's sake. Truth. This is the one that gets the most misunderstood, particularly because of the way the method has been portrayed in popular culture. The actor who actually ate raw bison liver for a role. The actor who stayed in character for the entire shoot and terrorized the rest of the cast. The stories of actors who really put themselves through it for the sake of authenticity. Let me be very direct about this. That is not what psychological realism teaches. That is what happens when someone takes one small element of the method, emotional memory, and confuses it with the entire philosophy. Emotional truth is not suffering. It is not the method acting as a performance of commitment. It is asking yourself one question. Is this true? Not, does this look true? Not, will the audience believe this? But in this moment, in these circumstances, with this objective and this obstacle, is what I am feeling real? If the answer is yes, you're there. If the answer is no, go back to pillar 1. You haven't done enough detective work. So why it works even better on camera, the stage needs projection. It needs physical size. It needs a performance that can reach the back row of a 2,000-seat theater. The camera needs nothing of the sort. In fact, the camera actively punishes that kind of performance. What reads as powerful and present in a theater reads as theatrical and false on screen. What the camera loves, what is uniquely suited to capture, is interiority. A thought is visible on camera. A micro expression tells you everything. The slight quickening of breath, the tiniest shift of the eyes, the almost imperceptible tightening of the jaw. The camera is not a recording device. It is a microscope. And psychological realism gives you something worth putting under it. So what's the Anthem connection? This is exactly what modules 1, 2, and 3 of Becoming an Actor 2026 is built on. We don't start with voice or movement or scene study. We start here with this philosophy because without it, everything else is just decorations. If you have been sitting on the fence about this course, if you've been watching and thinking, yes, this is the kind of training I've been looking for, I want you to know that what I've just given you is, in the last 15 minutes, is the first page of what's inside. And speaking of great performances, I want to know what you think about one of the most debated questions in screen acting history. Let's do hot take or hard pass. Here's the hot take. Marlon Brando was the greatest screen actor of all time. Right. Hot take or hard pass? I'm going to put a statement to you, and I want to know if you are in or out. Marlon Brando was the greatest screen actor of all time. Before I tell you what I think, comment yes if you agree, or hard pass if you don't. I'll come back to this in a second. Let's put the case forward. The Godfather, 1972. Marlon Brando does something in that film that, in 40 years of watching screen performance, I have never seen replicated. The cotton wool in the cheeks, the rasp in his voice, the sheer physical transformation, but that's not what makes it extraordinary. What makes it extraordinary is the tenderness. This is a man who orders murders over dinner, and he is tender. He loves his family with a completeness that is completely real and completely devastating. You believe both things simultaneously, the monster and the father. That is psychological realism at its absolute peak. The given circumstances are complete. The objective is clear. The obstacle is himself because he knows what he is. And the emotional truth is never, not once, in question. And before The Godfather, a streetcar named Desire on the waterfront. He was doing this in the 1950s. He didn't learn it from anyone. He was showing everyone else how it was done. The case against the second half of his career. Brando stopped caring, or more accurately, he stopped trying. He was famously difficult on set. He read his lines off cue cards. He turned in performances in films like The Island of Dr. Moreau that were, well, let us say, experimental. And there's an argument, a serious argument, that the greatest screen actor of all time should be defined by consistency, by the full body of work, by what they brought to every role, not just the transcendent ones. By that measure, you could make a very strong case for Meryl Streep, for Daniel Day-Lewis, for Kate Blanchett, for, and I'll say it, our friend Cillian Murphy, who is only getting started. But I think Marlon Brando led the way. He had this absolutely amazing ability to be present in every single moment that he was on camera in his great moments. And I think that's irreplaceable. What he was doing was not and had not ever been done before, and was quite remarkable and eye-opening to audiences. In fact, I think from our position here in the 21st century, it is even hard for us to understand quite the impact that those original performances had on audiences. They'd never seen it before, and they were really surprised, and I think that qualifies him, in my opinion, to be the greatest screen actor in history. But here's my question back to you. Who would you put in the seat? If it's not Brando, who is your greatest screen actor of all time, and why? Drop it in the comments. I read every single one. Let's close with this. Psychological realism is not about suffering for your art. Let me say that again, because it is important. It's not about method actors staying in the moment, making everyone miserable on set, and then giving an interview about how hard it was. That is not craft. That is, frankly, a behavior problem dressed up as dedication. Psychological realism is about understanding what human beings actually want, deep in their bones, beneath the words, beneath the behavior, and playing that with complete honesty. It is a discipline. It is a practice. It takes time and it takes work. And there are no shortcuts, but it is learnable. Every part of it is learnable. And when it clicks, and it will click, you will never go back. And that's it. The whole thing. Before I go, I need you to hear this. The Becoming an Actor scholarship closes tomorrow, Thursday, the 24th of April at midnight. If you have been thinking about submitting your audition tape, the window is closing. I want to see your work. That is not a platitude. I mean it. Every tape that has come in has been reviewed by me personally. Every one. And the standard has genuinely moved me. If you're sitting there thinking, mine isn't good enough yet, submit it anyway. Growth is exactly what the scholarship is designed for. We're not looking for perfect. We're looking for true. Go now. Scholarship.Anthem Creative Agency. The winner is announced live on this channel, Friday, the 25th of April at 7 p.m. South African Standard Time. Be there. And then do follow the links in our bio where you will be able to find out more about your participation in Becoming an Actor 2026. This is a remarkable course. It's huge fun. I thoroughly enjoy teaching it, and the growth that I see from students is just absolutely incredible, and I would like you to be part of that. So this is Anthem Daily. We don't wait for our moment. We build it.